Yo, what is up guys? It's me, Zachary. Got a couple of interesting topics to talk about today. One of them I'm gonna say is courtesy of Reddit user Crazy Makoto, because without him, I never would have been able to share with you guys the legendary start that Damian Lillard has had to his career. Other than that though, we also gotta talk about a certain teacher telling his students not to be like a certain NBA player, and yet another NBA player trying to improve his outside shot this summer. Those are all the topics we got to talk about today, so Lego. You've all probably heard this at least 10 times over the past year. Damian Lillard is one of the most underrated players in the NBA. Anytime there is a discussion about most underrated players in the NBA, his name is for sure to pop up in that conversation. It'll probably be the first name to pop up in that conversation. And if any of you are ever brave enough to say otherwise, you had better be prepared to face a wrath like you have never seen. Lillard fans will pop up out of nowhere and hunt you down to the end of the earth and then make you jump off of it. Actually, let me do a quick experiment right here. Damian Lillard is overrated. Wait for it. Bam! I just attracted in every single Damian Lillard fan on the face of the earth to this video. They were about to go ham on me in the comment section. Joke's on you. Obviously, if you've been following this channel for a decent amount of time, you know that Damian Lillard is one of my favorite players in the NBA. It goes every other player on the Pistons, and then Kawhi Leonard, then Damian Lillard. And to me, Damian Lillard is of course underrated. It's just that no one knew exactly how underrated he actually is. The man gets snubbed from all-star teams more than anyone has ever been snubbed from all-star teams. I mean, seriously, how many players do you think could put up 27 points, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds per game and not make the all-star team? The answer is only one, and that player is Damian Lillard. But then you know, people combat that by saying, is he really underrated just because he doesn't make all-star teams? Sure, he puts up great numbers, but if you look at the rest of the West, especially with the guards, they are just loaded. James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Chris Paul. It's just very stiff competition out there, and some people are bound to get left out. That doesn't necessarily mean that he's underrated, and that's a pretty decent argument. There are a lot of great guards in the Western Conference. Of course, if Damian Lillard was in the East, he'd be in the All-Star game every single year. But then you take a look at what Damian Lillard has been able to do with the Portland Trail Blazers over the past 2 years. 2 years ago, the Blazers were supposed to be one of the worst teams in the NBA. They were supposed to be headed to the lottery after they lost 4 of their starting 5 players. But what happened? They still wound up making the playoffs in the loaded Western Conference, thanks to, of course, CJ McCollum having a breakout year and stepping up, but also because of Damian Lillard straight up setting flames and being a great leader for the Portland Trail Blazers. And despite that, despite all that, despite the Blazers actually winning games that year, tell me how Damian Lillard still didn't make the all-star team that year. Explain how that's not underrated. However, then they will come back and say, but didn't he make the all-NBA team that year? I don't see how you can be underrated if you make the all-NBA team, regardless if you didn't make the all-star team or not. Once again, a pretty good comeback argument. All-NBA teams do mean more than all-star teams, so I guess in the end, it's good that he at least made that year. He got some of the recognition he deserved. Outside of that though, you really couldn't bring up much to prove that Damian Lillard was underrated. You could say it and you could try to convince, but it's kind of hard to exactly prove with stats, or at least it was up until now. The next time you find yourself in an argument with someone about Damian Lillard being the most underrated player in the NBA, all you have to do is ask them this one simple question, and they will fall right into your trap. If Damian Lillard isn't underrated, how would you rate his first 5 seasons in the NBA? Ask them that. And if their response doesn't include the words legendary, historic, freaking mythical, I don't know, something along those lines, then you got them right where you want them. Fire back at them with this. Well, did you know that Damian Lillard is only one of 10 players in NBA history since the NBA was created, where in his first 5 seasons he scored 8,000 points and dished out 2,000 assists? After you say that, just watch their jaw drop to the floor and then just walk away. But if it doesn't drop to the floor, you can mention the other 9 players who accomplished this feat. Get into detail about it. Shine some more light on their ignorantness. The only other players in NBA history who have done this include Oscar Robertson, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Larry Bird, Tiny Archibald, Isaiah Thomas, the Pistons one, Dave Bing, Reggie Theus, and Pete Maravich. And if that doesn't impress them and you want to break it down even more, say Damian Lillard did that but even better than some of those players. See, out of those players, only 4 of them have put up at least 8,800 points and 2,400 assists in their first 5 years in the NBA. The big O, Bron, Tiny, and Lillard himself. Honestly, if that doesn't convince them that Damian Lillard is the most underrated player in the NBA and could possibly be one of the most underrated and underappreciated, underawarded, whatever you want to call it, players that the NBA has ever seen, then nothing will. I thought Damian Lillard was underrated. However, it turns out that I was still not giving him enough credit. I knew he was a great player, but I never knew he was having a historic career so far. That's facts. You know what else is facts? Thunder fans hate Kevin Durant. That is a fact that it might as well be a law. That is something that will never change. Thunder fans will continue to hate Kevin Durant from now until they stop existing. That is, unless Kevin Durant at some point in his career decides to go back to the Thunder, in which case all those people who are hating on him will then return to being some of his biggest fans ever, but that's not happening, so yeah. There's a teacher in Oklahoma that hates Kevin Durant. Sounds like a pretty obvious statement. There is a teacher that is a Thunder fan. All of you guys know how the first day of school goes, right? The teacher hands out some syllabus or a rubric, explains about the class, and explains some of the rules. This teacher, though, did things a little bit differently, as they only had a couple of rules, and one of them, the golden rule, was not to be a Kevin Durant. KD left the OKC Thunder last summer after falling to the Golden State Warriors in the Western Conference Finals. Following the end of the season, he decided it was the best interest to join the very team that had just knocked him out the playoffs. Don't be like KD. Don't take the easy way out. Things like cheating, plagiarizing, and copying your friend's homework may not seem like a big deal now, but they are building habits that could significantly hinder you later in life. Additionally, always strive to finish what you have started. Have finished homework is unfinished homework. Don't try to turn in an assignment if you have not done what is necessary and expected. My mouth just got real salty just from reading that. So far this summer, we've seen a bunch of big men coming out and saying that they will be attempting threes next year. They're looking to expand their range. Andre Drummond, Hassan Whiteside, Dwight Howard, and the legend himself, JaVale McGee, all have a new three-point game added to their arsenal, which is great. I'm not mad at players trying to expand their game, but I will not lie, it has caused me to question some of the perimeter players and guards who still, after all their time in the NBA, never developed a consistent three-point shot. If JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard and Andre Drummond and Hassan Whiteside can shoot threes now, what is your excuse? By the way, to any of the Blazers fans out there that got, who are having a nice day or who like the video so far because I talked about Damian Lillard, I'm sorry, but this is kind of the part where I have to bring you back down to a certain reality. Evan Turner. If you're a Portland fan, that name just made you cringe. See, the Blazers last summer spent a boatload of money on Evan Turner. What was it, like 70 or 80 million dollars? Which, if you're spending that on a perimeter player, you would expect the least he would be able to do is shoot the ball at least decently from deep. Evan Turner is a well below decent three-point shooter. For his career, he is shooting under 30% from three. That is awful. It can only get better. That's what he is hoping to do, as he posted a video to his Instagram, actually videos to his Instagram account yesterday, showing him putting in the work to make himself a more competent shooter from deep. That's great. It looks like he's making them, but then again, making them in an actual game is much different than making them in a drill like this. And Blazers fans can only hope that he can start to make them. He could be a solid 3-and-D guy for them, because everything else Evan Turner brings on the offensive end, the Blazers don't really need. He's a guy you can put the ball in his hands and make plays, but they don't really need that. They already have Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. On the offensive end, when Lillard and McCollum have the ball, Turner is useless since he can't be a 3-and-D player since he can't shoot. Hopefully that changes next year. But that's going to lead us to the question of the day. Do you guys think that Damian Lillard will actually make the All-Star team this year? Let me know down in the comment section below, but now let's take a look at what you guys said in yesterday's video. And yesterday, I asked you guys what team you think Dwayne Wade will sign with after he gets bought out, and here's what you said. Question of the day: I love Miami because he is Mr. Miami, but if he wants to win another championship, then the Spurs or the Cavs. Question of the day: well, Cleveland won't make any sense if Kyrie gets traded, and Houston will have to play the sixth man, so he will fit on the Thunder. Point guard: Russell Westbrook. Shooting guard: Dwayne Wade. Small forward: Paul George. Power forward: Patrick Patterson. Center: Steven Adams. I think Thunder fans everywhere are getting excited. Question of the day: he will go to Houston. They will have CP3 and most likely try to get Melo. Plot twist: he wants to win a ring, he signs with the Warriors. I don't know though. Cavs, Spurs, and Rockets could all for sure use Dwayne Wade to boost their chance of winning a ring. And then there is still the whole possibility of him reuniting with Miami. You can never count that out. But at this point, it's hard to say where he will go because I can legit see him playing for all of those teams. We'll just have to wait and see. But that's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and until tomorrow, keep getting the Bucks Team SDC, and I'm out of here. Peace!